Welcome to the upstreamlife.com. I'm your founder, Vishal Krishna. Today, I have with me the founders of Indiassetz. Seema, Harsha, and Shivam, Sinha have built a platform that allows you to manage your real estate wealth. You have to download the app because it allows you to manage your entire real estate in a single click. Shivam, Seema, how are you?
I'm good.
All
Good,
well,
right?
Shivam?
Good, Vishal. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right. I like your laughter. I know Seema for a while now, and I'm so happy to know you. I'm really impressed with Indiassetz, because you're building something called the Real Estate Wealth Tech Platform. It's quite advanced. It helps HNIs manage everything on an app, which means property, which has not been done before. I want you to tell me, what is a Real Estate Wealth Tech Platform? I'm really curious. I usually went to my aunts and uncles to manage my real estate in the past, and some brokers, fragmented knowledge from lawyers, really never helped me. Do you want to tell me what a Real Estate Wealth Tech Platform is?
You're so right, Vishal. I think we've been bankers for so long, and while in the banking industry, especially me, I love the real estate industry. But we saw such a large gap that every customer whom we met are so savvy with managing their cash wealth with the banks, and then they're so technology savvy and everything. But when it comes to real estate, they're so I would say backward. They ended up asking.
I'm glad you picked backward.
Yeah, totally backward, because it's like they're sitting on 10 to 20 crores of real estate, and but then end of the day they're asking their security guard to sort of manage. Please help me find a tenant. I mean, they're so dependent on that. So that sort of found it very, very intriguing that why can't we sort of build something which is similar to a banking platform. Why don't we build a technology which can handle your real estate, where we could manage it in a much, much better way for HNI especially. So that was the beginning of our journey.
It's interesting that you guys have 10K HNIs on the platform. The plan is to go 20-fold or 30-fold in 18 months. That's very interesting. And what do these HNIs do? Like she mentioned briefly, what is the category of HNIs? What are they? Are they really, when you say high net worth individuals, are they property-led HNIs or even cash-led HNIs? Are there really big guys from abroad also?
So this has both, Vishal. This has NRIs as well as resident Indians. Anybody who owns one asset or a multiple portfolio of assets, they are all our potential customers. And 10,000 customers over the last 7 years we've acquired. The fact of the matter is the market is so huge. There are so many people. There are about 82 million HNIs, including NRIs, within India and outside. So what we've acquired actually is very less when you ask me at this point in time, and which is why we started our digital journey, because the acquisition engine, once it kicks in and people get to know about what we are offering, there is a plethora of customers who naturally come and start asking for our services and products.
Okay, it's been a 7-year journey for the two of you. We'll get into the history of how we met in a bit. I want to know that for you to move from a services company to a platform, it's been fabulous. What does the platform do? What are you solving? We mentioned all those things, that it's easy, it's on an app, but generally it's taking on the fragmented industry and the fragmented nature of real estate.
So Vishal, if you see, we started our journey 7 years back. We wanted to make sure that we set up the whole business correctly, because this is not, we are not doing purely buy and sell. We are not doing one aspect of real estate. What we are getting together is the whole gamut of products and services in real estate that anybody can offer, or a HNI would need. What one would do for their own property, they are practically outsourcing it to us. Now, real estate has been the largest pool of investment, whether it is one property or multiple sets of properties for people, and for them to have trust in a third party, it will take some time, and for that you had to make sure that you're solving their problem first. Yeah, taking care of the small little problems, small little needs for us to become top of the mind recall. Once we become top of the mind recall, everything related to their property, it comes to us. So we had to make sure that the entire backend is stitched. We had to make sure that we have a sourcing strategy, we have an execution strategy, we have an exit strategy for customers as well. When we did all of that, it took us a while. Ideally, 5 years back, we should have sat like this. Because or rather 3 years back we should have sat like this, because we wanted to start our digital journey 3 years back, but for COVID it got delayed. But once we started the digital journey, the number of customers automatically started coming on the platform, and which is why we are very confident that from 10,000 to a lakh of customers we'll reach very, very quickly.
Okay, Let's go back to the backstory. You're bankers. Most of the banks, by regulation, cannot, participate in real estate or even champion real estate. Rightly so, because they cannot favor any brands. You started out of Standard Chartered, is that right?
Yeah, we quit Standard Chartered. Yeah.
Okay, you started there.
No,
How did you meet? My question is, how did you guys meet?
So I mean, we've been bankers. I've worked 17 years in HSBC and Standard Chartered, and likewise for her. And while working with the bank, she was in one unit, I was in another unit. But then, we had common friends, we had common interests in terms of real estate, in terms of, I mean, both of us were from the lending side of business. So there were multiple meetings where we used to get together, etc. And over years, we realized that, I wanted to get out of the banking system because I'd already set up 4-5 units in the bank. And I was very clear right from the very beginning that I wanted to get out at some point in time and start something of my own. Considering my entire experience was around real estate, lending, and lending involves real estate, this was a natural progression for me. Even when I started my journey in MBA, I realized that I will not be able to crack the IIMs, etc. And I was very sure about that. And at that point in time itself, I knew that at some point in time, I'll do the switch over and start something of my own. In 2011, 2012, I had come to a point where I could not sit in the bank anymore, and I had this idea which I thought was very pertinent, and we were friends, and she had.
You guys had met through a cricket game, right? That's when.
Yeah.
It was way back.
Who popped the entrepreneurship question that, hey Seema, are you interested? Hey Shivam, are you interested? You had that idea, but who popped the question saying, let's become entrepreneurs?
I think I did because I have a great interest in cricket and sports. And we had this opportunity. The bank sent us all in large group for a cricket match, and just common interests got together. And she, considering, like I said, she was in the lending side also, and she had this great intrigue towards real estate. Architecture and real estate, etc. You can.
You should tell us. You should
No, I think that's the whole point. I've been in the bank for so long. And then when Shivam had this idea of starting something on his own, and the minute he said it's real estate, I said I'm coming in because I always loved the subject. Though I've been a hardcore banker, MBA finance and everything, but my interest in architecture, construction and real estate, the whole ecosystem was so much that the minute he told me that, Seema, I'm starting something to do with real estate, I said, I'm in. I didn't think twice because that subject is something which just sort of called me.
Nice. Tell me why don't banks or even wealth management companies handle real estate very well? That was the sweet spot, right? That everything has a wealth management side to it, but not real estate.
Yeah.
See, there are two very different, though it's wealth management, but they are very different products. One. Two, it's not that wealth management companies did not try. Banks come under the RBI umbrella, so
Correct.
RBI doesn't allow them to do direct real estate. But wealth management companies don't. But they don't do it because what they do itself is huge, right? And there is huge competition. This requires a completely different sets of requirements,
or knowledge.
Yeah. So the wealth management companies tried. They tried in-housing, they tried outsourcing, and they failed successfully, which is where we saw the opportunity.
I like the way you said they failed successfully. That's so true, actually. But when you started, before we get into the platform bit in detail, you started off as a services firm.
Yeah.
And I remember meeting you at that time. That was all 5, 6, 7 years ago, I think.
Yeah. 2015.
Why start as a service company and not a tech company immediately? If you could tell us why was that journey important, and then you could perhaps pick up on why the platform made sense.
Yeah, so Vishal, Shivam answered that in the
in the
previous question, that we really wanted to try the policies and processes and people, bring everything together. We were just 2 of us in the beginning and then 5 of us, and then today we are 150 of us. So we wanted to really set up the whole process manually, We started off like that, and then when we wanted to scale, when we wanted to add more customers, in the last 2-3 years, we realized that tech plays an important role, and it's when we started our digital journey. Otherwise, the only idea of building this legacy business from 14 to 2019 was to understand this whole industry, how an individual thinks, how the real estate works for him, what are his needs. It's so much more easier to build a platform when I know what the client needs. Yeah.
Just to add to that, if you see, people were used to their cash wealth or liquid wealth being managed, so advisory, management, execution by banks and wealth management companies. They were used to it. There was nobody who was doing what we've done, So for us to create that sense of trust in the customers, because real estate investment is fairly large when compared to, it's 70-30 kind of thing. So we had to make sure that every single customer's requirements are taken care of very specifically, and we had to obviously test the waters, that a service, how does it reach, where does it reach, how does it culminate into a sell or a buy, etc. How does the customer journey entail? The whole thing had to be set up, and that could not have been set up. It can't be a pure play, digital play from day one and pump in a whole lot of money, etc. We wanted to do it right because we are not in this for a short.
Yeah, I like the way you were saying it. You are not in the valuations game. You built the knowledge first, scale that business up.
We've built a business, we did not create a business for raising money. We built a business, we ran it successfully with a positive balance sheet for 7 years. We raised money when it was actually required to flip over to the digital side, because our business will not fail.
Okay.
In 7 years, if you see, a business fails or succeeds within 1.5 2 years. We've run it successfully for 7 years, continuously grown, continuously expanded, continuously got people in, build the best team. As a business, whether I raise money or I don't raise money, my business will not fail. It'll run successfully. Why did we raise money? We did a pre-series round. We raised money because we wanted to flip over digitally. We realized that what we can do in 2 years, we don't need to organically do it in 10 years.
Numbers again, huge numbers of HNIs. You said 80 million plus.
There are 82 million HNIs as per the last.
Indians, right?
Yeah.
That's
All.
That's, and you've only done 10,000 so far, which means digitally you can scale a lot more. Yeah. Both of you perhaps should take time to explain that you're in the secondary market. People get confused, right? So what is the secondary market? You're in the buy, sell, renting segment. Explain that to us and what it is so that people get to understand, the audience gets to understand what is this.
So so Vishal, I mean, there are basically two sets. Primary is that you buy the developer, new projects, under construction projects and things like that. But individual starts accumulating portfolio, assuming you own about 10 properties already, or 2 or 3, whatever number that portfolio is. So you become part of the secondary market. That is, you're not buying directly from the developers. That's when the problem begins, right? You end up managing this whole portfolio yourself.
Alone,
Your family, manages that whole real estate.
I keep saying uncles and aunts.
Exactly.
Uncles and aunts.
Yeah, and sometimes parents, the old, children are traveling. Yeah. You're so dependent on your family for handling that such a large portfolio. That's where we come in. So we are purely targeting our secondary market HNIs who are holding a certain amount of real estate portfolio and facing problems. It could be anything. I mean, the first problem what they face is selling the property. In the secondary market, they would have to, really, as I said, they would have to deal with the local contacts what they have, or the security guard or the family. It's so difficult for them. So that's the segment which we are playing, and maybe we would want to be the leaders in secondary market real estate wealth management kind of place.
Okay, so it's going to be buy. You want to add some? Go on, you're saying.
So if you actually see the everybody's chasing a buyer in this market. It can be for every other industry as well. Buyers are obviously far and few. Sellers are far more. Nobody's solving the seller's problem. Once you actually buy a property, after that your real trouble starts, like she mentioned. You have to pay taxes, you have to spend time, you have to give, whether it is plot, residential or commercial asset, you have to do a lot more. And it is not just, that you call up your banker and tell them that, sell this or buy this or make a demand.
It's not like a trade.
It is not like a trade. You for the smallest of things, you'll have to spend a lot of time. You will have to leave your office. You will have to look for a vendor. You will have to look for a set of people who can actually help you with. And if you have properties in multiple cities, the problem expands. And if you are an NRI sitting, thousands of miles away, the problem becomes multifold because of time difference, etc. So, which is why we thought, once we solve a problem, I mean, if you're not solving a problem, there is no business, right? We started solving those problems, and then that's when the customer base started building for us.
Okay, I want to know this feeling of moving from being just consultants or service businesses to going digital. You set the context very well that you can scale fast, and you've done a pre-series A at this point of time. Did you guys hit a glass ceiling and that's when you realized that we need to bring a platform, or was that always in the works from 2014, 15?
So Vishal, we've not moved even 1% from what our initial plan was.
Okay.
So there were various diversions. So when you start a business, there are multiple sets of people who come and say, I'll align this, I'll align that.
Yes.
You can start getting revenue. Every entrepreneur in the initial days is very, very worried about, survival of his business. We did not have a survival problem after the first 6 months of operations.
Because the clients were HNIs, they were happy to outsource the real estate wealth to you.
Yeah, so that was not a problem, but we wanted to start a digital journey after we set up the whole thing. Our customer acquisition strategy, where I don't have to pay to acquire a customer. So my CAC, as it is commonly called, is zero. I don't have to pay even a rupee to acquire my customer. So my partnerships, my execution strategies, my vendors, my team, our offices, etc. We had to make sure that this whole thing runs perfectly. Then this is the difficult part. Switching it over to digital is not so difficult, because then, you can do it within a year. And then obviously digital also is a journey that, you keep adding value, you keep adding products, you keep adding other services, etc. for customers, for vendors, for partners, etc. But the difficulty for any businessman or entrepreneur or a startup would be how to set up a business. First, ideation, which is a very small part. There are thousands of ideas.
So you're saying you
People
launch
fail.
the technology, but the business will fail because they haven't thought through the flow of what
See,
an HNI wants.
what is better? You build a technology and then try to build a business around it, or you build a sustainable business. I'm telling you frankly, my business will not fail.
Okay.
It is beyond that point of failure. If the only thing that can happen is at what pace will we grow from here?
Yeah.
By infusing digitization into this, which is what we are doing.
How has that gone for you both? I mean, for that requires building a great team, hiring youngsters. Like you said, you don't want to play the valuation game, but you have a business proposition here which can scale multifold. How do you manage that? Let's start with the team. Was it important to get a new team for this aspect of it? Because more technology driven, data driven. Did you have to realign? There's the old school which is running very well, and there's this new school of thought that you brought into the business. Have you separated the two? Are you combining the two very well? Who wants to take this?
Vishal, firstly, it's not true that we are not playing the valuation game.
Okay.
If we've raised money, most definitely
You have to play the game. Okay. Got that. That's fair.
Otherwise,
fair.
let's keep that aside.
I'm glad you said that straight. Okay.
Because if I've done a pre-series,
Yes.
and I've invested in people, infrastructure, and technology, etc., or marketing, it should lead to some point. So as we are discussing, we are obviously in conversation with some Series A players, and we are happy to discuss with whoever else comes on board, and we are building that whole piece. If I have to do something in 2 years which organically can be done in 10 years, it will need additional capital, right? And digital is a dark hole. It
can suck you in, or you get to a place where you really want to.
So the point is that if people get to know that there is a company like this, they immediately sign up. If their partners get to know that there is a company like this, they sign up, right? They immediately come on board, which is why the journey from a 2,000 to a 10,000 did not take that much time, as much as it took from a 0 to 2,000 customer on board. Okay. Right? Now coming back to team, of course the team is most critical. The biggest challenge for any entrepreneur is a team. We were fortunate because there are a lot of people started aligning to what our thought process was, and we were very sure from the very beginning that we will build a sustainable business first. We were bankers. We knew that sooner or later everybody will realize the concept of profitability.
I got it. So being traditional has helped. You're saying that. Would you say that you sometimes feel? I mean, our generation sometimes you see so much of this valuation news going on. Between 14 and 20, till that time of COVID, did you ever feel left behind, or did you guys think, what are we doing? Where do we stand?
I think, Vishal, both of us have always been thinking, I mean, we're bankers, right? Again, that comes within us that we have to build a profitable business. Scale is important, there's no doubt. But without profit, it sort of doesn't make any sense. We have to balance between scaling and building a profitable business. I think that's the fundamental which we built in this company. and we will continue to do that.
It's an interesting, beautiful take. That means if a VC sits by you by the table, you will always talk profitability, which is very important to you and bottom line.
I mean, why would a VC not want to hear profitability? Ultimately, he also wants to make money. In certain companies, if they're playing valuation game and going with losses, eventually after 7, 8, 9, 10 years, the VC looks at profit. Here is a company which is giving you profit from year 2.
Correct.
What would you do? Any sensible person would do.
I want to ask you about market capture. Prop tech sort of taking off. I want to ask you, where are you going to go? Are you going to go gung-ho in getting customers? Because I would rather think that competition would also want to do something similar in the long run. Do you see this as the next 18 months being very crucial for both of you to get as many customers as possible?
I think, Vishal, we are in a great space. I mean, if you see, 5 years back, there were not many prop tech, and in the last 5 years, and especially in the last 2 years, we've had some great prop tech companies coming in, and we both keep discussing what other companies do, of course. Extremely interesting space right now, but the market is so large, and the need for real estate wealth management is so large.
Give us the numbers. How large is it? You gave me 82 million. This is just Indian, right? Yeah. You can also manage it for other HNIs in other parts of the world. You can.
A lot of NRI segment which we have not touched. There are another 32 million NRIs sitting across.
On top of the 82 million?
Yes. So they are my target segment. And we serving them and local resident Indians wanting real estate is large. So we're really happy to see some more competition in this space. And in PropTech per se, there's so many different kinds of companies which are coming in, providing single service, aggregators, niche segments. But we are in the real estate wealth management space, keeping our customer at the center.
You were saying something?
Yeah.
So post pandemic, I think everybody realizes that real estate is one of the industries which has got benefited. So let's get that out of the way. So that's point number one. The second thing is we have a portfolio approach, and it is great that there are so many prop tech companies coming. They're solving one problem, two problems. Each of the companies is solving one or two of the problems. This industry was never given the kind of focus and attention it has got in the last 2 years. Okay, it can be because of pandemic, it can be for various other reasons. But the fact of the matter is that there is a place for everybody. We've seen this happening in all other industries. In this particular industry, which is the second or third largest employer in India, it was customers were never given the focus. There was no customer centricity. So if you talk about any NRI, you talk about HNI, all of them would be very wary because somebody or the other has burnt a finger or a leg or a whole body. So for them to trust initially was difficult. Now with the kind of people that are coming in, very experienced people, very well educated people coming into this industry, I think it's great because ultimately the customer gets benefited. And if the customer is getting benefited, what more? I mean, who would want anything more than that?
Shivam, I'm glad you brought things in perspective on how the startup ecosystem today is solving niche problems, and especially in the real estate side, may not work. Alluding to your previous point that you build the technology, raise the money, and then try to solve for customers may not be good for the customer. Let's talk about what does the customer appreciate. Seema, you were also saying all these services are bundled onto the app. Is that something that they like? That one-stop shop for everything? Say I own a plot. Let's start with an example of a plot. Say I own a 2-acre plot, maybe in Bangalore or any part of India. You just get on the app and say, I want it fenced, I want it cleaned. And those requests are all taken care by Indiassetz?
Yes. That's exactly what we built the app for. The client could onboard. He could do the onboarding himself. We have a DigiLocker. He can upload all his documents. He can create his own dashboard. He gets the overall valuation of all his properties. So it's nice to see what's your value, property worth. We give so many additional features like, is there a SWD, issue with your house? What's the air quality index? So a lot of, small points for your portfolio, which is not there at all. And in addition to that, what we do is we help you with the sell journey. You want to sell, we will help you with the whole sell journey digitally. So we try and see that our clients do most of the work digitally, and then only when there's last mile delivery, our team gets involved. And of course, all the maintenance products, you could pick up anything. You could tell us to pay property taxes. You you want to get your property legal done. So all of those digital requests can be raised.
It's interesting. I can choose to call a person, or I can just leave it to your team to handle, and I just get updates on what's being done. That means my taxes are paid in time, my property is
We
maintained.
track your tenancy management, we track your rentals, assuming you've given your house on rentals. We know exactly which states the rentals are falling. We track that. When it's to be renewed, we do the, online contracts. So everything digitally, we're trying to solve. Yeah.
Why is digital required in this space? It is required because, this set of clients, they would, not every time they want to talk to somebody. They can just drop in a message. They can drop in a ticket. There are time zone differences. We are not working from, say, 7:30 in the evening till 9 o'clock in the morning.
So they may be in California.
They may be in California. Even if within the city itself, you are socializing with somebody and something comes to your mind, you don't want to pick up the phone and call somebody or send a mail or send a text at so late in the night. You wouldn't want to talk. So you have the whole digital interface. You're talking to your friend, take out your phone, drop in a text, drop in a ticket, and you're done with it. And it will be taken care of. So for every small thing, you don't need to talk to people, right? And which is where the whole tech interface will start talking to you. As a seller, you're sitting on an airport. As a buyer, you're sitting on an airport or wherever, and you want to understand what kind of property you have in mind, and you can just select those buttons, drop in the send button, and you are done. And then somebody will be taking care of it. You don't have to do anything.
It's interesting. So I like this digital journey aspect. How many of them would want this complete journey, 100% digital journey, or would it be blended? That I still want to call somebody at the end of the month saying, what's the status?
This is the first time we are launching such an app, right? I mean, we want to see customer behavior. I mean, would they really, some clients are so used to, talking to somebody. So we've kept that open, but slowly we would want to, migrate completely digital.
Okay. Shivam, you were very succinct in telling me that everybody solved, in the startup world, they solved one or two problems, and then, they built the technology first, and then they went to try to solve the business, which may not work for the customer generally, and hence a lot of burn. But in your case, you built an app that takes care of the entire real estate journey on an app. I don't even have to call anybody. Is that bottom line for the customer? Is that what is good for the customer? Can you explain how it works, though?
See, Vishal, can everything go on the app 100%? The last mile will have to be human interface. Just the way in every other industry, including fintech, prop tech, Swiggy, or whichever company you want to call, everybody has the last mile. There is a human interface involved.
Absolutely. There's a delivery boy for Swiggy.
So for every company, how much ever they say, other than maybe a IT product company, there is human interface involved. What our app would do, or our platform would do, is make this whole journey about 75-80% for a customer completely digital. He doesn't have to interact with anybody. The last mile, there are certain times when there are agencies involved, there are sub-registrar offices involved, there are government agencies involved. There you might have customer interfaces, and there the customer would need hand-holding. That is where the
the physical part matters. Okay.
But otherwise, it's all completely
digital. All right. I have another thought. Let's say I own a plot, say 2 acres. I'm sitting out of California and I want to manage it. Can I just come on the app and say I need it maintained, I need it fenced, I need it, paying government taxes on a yearly basis? Can you do all that on the app?
Yeah, absolutely, Vishal. You just have to download our app, and it's available, and you upload your properties. You create your own dashboard, you upload all your documents, we've provided all those features in it, and you get to know the valuation of the property, and it's so nice to sort of know how much your total property value is.
By the way, I've used the valuation product, and I think it's very gamified, and I feel very wealthy at times. I'm sure I would tell the audience to check it out for sure. So I can do all that, and I can choose a bouquet of services.
Yeah, so you have a dashboard. Today, I don't think any people are actually stacking up their properties anywhere. I mean, for my own use or for your own use, you could just stack up all your properties, create your own dashboard, and then raise any kind of service request you need. You want to pay your property taxes, you want to get your legal done, so everything on the in the app you could.
So you're saying it's just a ticket system. Just raise a ticket. Don't worry about the time zone. We can handle it.
Also, what happens is there are times when you would have bought this 2-acre property many years ago. Either you bought it or you owned it through your parents, etc. Over years, the government regulations would have changed. You might need certain other documents, for the legal to be completely in place. That government licensing bit also we will take care of. So you are rest assured that at any given point in time, all your property documents are 100% compliant.
Okay, I'm very curious to know, with all these great offers for HNIs, NRIs, I want to know, how does the business model work? Because that's something that the VCs will be cognizant of. What is it?
So we have a clear subscription model, depending on the category of the client or the products we offer. The client can choose the subscription model, and we have a paper product. Whatever product they pick, you want a valuation, you want a legal done, you want your property taxes. The small amount of fee, convenience fee which we charge, and that's about it.
Okay. One of the things when you go digital is, both of you, the CAC in the startup world is very high. You'd mentioned earlier that the CAC could be very low. Do you want to care to explain why the CAC will be low? Is it because of the word of mouth that your current set of investors or HNIs who are on the platform can actually tell others that, okay, go use the platform? Are you dependent on that kind of a model for your marketing? Or is it going to be the startup way of saying, we've raised some money, let's burn and try to get customers?
So we've never believed in burn. So what we initially did is we went and partnered with wealth management companies and some banks, because they've acquired the customer base over the last 150 years. And there you can't go wrong, because you get a well qualified lead. That this XYZ customer has X amount of money in the bank and he has X amount of portfolio, right? So it's a win-win, because the bank can continue, or the wealth management company can continue to manage the cash wealth. And for them, their customers' real estate portfolio starts getting managed in exactly the same way, the way they are managing advisory, management and execution.
That's a good method. So you went back to your old ecosystem of wealth managers and everyone to build this model. That's super.
So we have exclusive partnerships with certain wealth management companies. In fact, the best of wealth management companies in India, and some of the leading banks, private as well as MNC, who refer their customers to us. Okay. And that's how we started. And then, as time progresses, once we go the digital way, we'll go out in the open market as well. We started going out in the open market as well for our customer acquisitions. Okay. We have an international play as well, where the NRIs will start coming on the platform, and then they'll start utilizing all the services and products that we have. We've done a survey, not only us but our banking partners as well have done a survey with the NRIs, and 87% of them said property management is the key. One of the top 3 services that they needed was property management. So the whole thing is built around this thing, and NRIs will start coming on the platform, and we will be executing in the 5 cities.
The platform is open for all, but all these while we've kept our CAC zero by strategic partnership who could refer us. Want to go heavy on digital marketing, and then
hopefully when you do 82 million, get to 82 million or 100 million, maybe then. Okay, great. Okay, my question is around the team now. Quickly, are you hiring? How's that experience been? You have to get the technology team in place, which you have. Has it been a good experience, tough experience? A lot of the startups who have ideas, especially founders, come and complain that tech is the most expensive in India, especially in Bangalore where we are. How do you handle that, both of you?
So we had outsourced technology initially. Okay. But
soon you realized you got to build it on your own.
Yeah, we realized we have to in-house it. So after we raised money, it was principally for putting the money in technology. So we started in-housing slowly, and we've actually handpicked our engineering team. And today, I think no more than 20% of what we do is outsourced. Everything else is in-housed. In building not only that team, but also the CTO, the CFO, the CMO, the CPO, all of it. We've really handpicked people over the last many years, and there are people who are there with us for the last 7 years. So
you've got people from the banking world. Yes. You've got, and also the good thing I like is you hire senior citizens, right? Exactly. That's something that you guys like doing. Right. Why is that?
Well, I think we've had a great experience with senior bankers. In fact, a couple of bankers who got out of banking, retired, and then they really know this kind of service industry to manage the real estate wealth of customers. They cannot be a better person to handle it other than a banker. So we've tried We've tried it and it's really worked very well for us, and we've really opened for hiring more
Especially
ex-bankers,
engineers and ex-bankers.
ex-bankers and techies.
Very
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Okay. You've been together so long, 20 years of friendship, being in the startup journey together, trials, tribulations, victories. What is the darkest moment for both of you? Be honest with me. I mean, I want the audience to know that it's not easy to start up. Everybody is starting up these days, and it's not easy. I'm a founder myself. I know how difficult, for me, hiring is the biggest problem. Getting somebody to interview on my behalf, it's very difficult to hire such people. Difficult to get good talent. So I wanted your most difficult thought processes. How did you guys stay together also?
I think from my perspective, the toughest part is to manage the people,
Managing
as you
teams.
said, manage teams, manage people generally, because when you're running a company, it's all about people, right?
Yes.
You're growing, you every day you meet new people and hire new. To manage people is extremely challenging, but
How did you
that
get
is
over
something
that,
I
Seema?
found.
How did you make sure? Did you
You're
have a
still
mentor?
managing. It's part
It's a
of your
process.
life. It's a process because you find such different kinds of people coming on board. Their expectations. Both of us have to balance different kinds of people coming together. As you said, I have senior citizens, I have youngsters, 20s
Yeah, you have a
coming
good
in.
mix.
So there's a totally great mix, but then expectations are different. So we'll have to
Was that
balance
the
it
hardest
out.
for you?
Yeah, I
Over
think
the last 7 years of
that's
running
the
this
only
company?
hardest thing.
Okay, great.
I found.
So just
you
to add,
never had cash problems, which is good to hear.
Yeah, that money
Which
is
means-
easier to
which means Money is
manage.
easier to handle.
Yeah.
so not that we've not had cash problems. Of course, everybody,
Yeah.
the
With
entire
all
ecosystem
companies.
goes through a journey. Especially demonetization. We've gone through demonetization. We've gone through RERA. We've gone through 2 rounds of COVID. So of course the most difficult time was COVID, because you continue to pay salaries, you continue to pay for the infrastructure, and you don't have any money coming in, and we are not, we didn't have a huge coffer of money. But coming back on the people front, I think so there is a conscious way in which we've hired. We've hired absolute youngsters because we realize that there is a sense of ideas that these guys bring on table, which we might be stuck in our old set of thought process. Whereas these guys have some really, really crazy ideas, brilliant ideas. Not only the technology folks, but otherwise also as a team. So if you see, we don't have a middle age too much. We have maybe middle age is only us. But we have some very senior people who come with this huge set of experience, and they open multiple doors for us, which is where the balance is, right? Also, while hiring, where it goes wrong is when people start expecting what they were getting in their last salaried job. Why do they come to us? Is because they have entrepreneurial zeal. And I will do injustice to it by giving them the salary that they are getting, right? Because then what am I doing? I'm just letting them continue to be a salaried employee. So we were very clear about who we hire, and during our interview course and multiple sets of discussions with them, we tell them clearly that we will not pay you what you were getting outside, but you will make much more money than what you would have made if you stayed as a salaried employee. You will have to go through this journey. You're not.
Because of the ESOP pool for you?
It is the ESOP pool also, because what is the reason to come to us from leaving a huge multinational organization or a huge company? The whole purpose is that you need to go through the
rigor of running a startup.
Exactly. You don't want to go grounds up. If you don't want to go ground up, come up, hop onto the platform. But you still will have to go through the ups and downs.
Together.
Because it is one thing that you stay in a eco space, right, and perform in a large company. It is another thing that you come out in the open jungle and start living this whole journey. It is really great, but the fact of the matter is a lot of people who would perform very well there but would not be able to perform here.
Okay. Your toughest moments were handling Demon, RERA, and COVID. Was that your deepest, most
absolutely.
difficult moment? You want to explain how did you come up on top?
I mean, so we had to go through the regular thing of taking huge salary cuts ourselves. The senior folks taking salary cuts. We were making sure that every staff, we did not sack even a single person all through the demonetization process or the pandemic, during the pandemic as well. We spoke to the entire set of people that whoever stays with us and sails through with this during this journey will get benefited multifold, and which is what we did. That once after the first pandemic got over, we made sure that everybody who stayed with us was well rewarded. And also the initial pitch to everybody that you are an entrepreneur, and if there is an up and down, you will have to go through it. So everybody was all right taking the salary cuts. Everyone was okay to make sure that every household money reaches.
My most important question now is about handling yourself as co-founder. Do you fight?
I mean,
Disagree?
Yeah,
we are friends. We have friends within the system. I mean, there's Anshuman who's working in our company. I mean, who's also a co-founder. We've been together from class 1. So three of us have known each other for 17, 18 years, and it is not possible that you don't fight. We have arguments, but I think it is great because everybody is performing a different role. I might be a more macro guy. Seema might be a more micro person. Anshuman might be a more I mean, so it brings a lot of different perspectives. As long as we are covered 360 degree on the risk. So what we do is, whoever we hire, we make sure that that person has a capability which we don't possess.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so we have disconnects. So what we know each
You
other's
have
strengths.
disconnects,
Yeah,
okay,
all three of us have huge disconnects.
But we have a
in
very
certain- But we know each other's strengths, right? How Shivam said. So we leave it. Final veto power stays with the
Nice.
person who's handling it.
Okay.
We have a very strong core team.
Which is good to know. The core team has remained with you for a long time. My biggest concern is also about real estate as an industry itself. Where do you see it heading? I didn't bring it up so far because you're a technology company. But where is the industry heading? RERA coming in has removed a lot of bad blood, right? It's cleaned up the system, yet builders continue to struggle. Last 10 years have been very bad for the ecosystem. Do you see real estate making a big comeback in the next 8 years? Do you see more HNIs coming and buying properties in India? How's that going? What do you think? Buying and selling?
Yeah, absolutely. This decade is going to be really good for real estate. I mean, RERA is a great move. It has solved a very small problem, but there is huge ground to cover.
What is that ground? If you can quickly tell us.
The RERA has to come into the secondary market too. I mean, there are so many policies which can be laid out for secondary market. The RERA is right now covering primary, and it is evolving basically. I mean, any regulatory for any business is extremely important. We coming from the banking and RBI being so strong, we would love to have RERA expand its scope to secondary market and organized way of managing real estate.
Gotcha,
We're heading in a
You're saying
So
it's an opportunity.
I think it's a great opportunity. I think for the next 10 years, India is going to really rock. Considering there is no other place globally right now where people can invest. So you see there is recession, there is, what's happening in China, what's happening in Russia, what's happening in European countries, what's happening in US. There's no place people can invest. And at the same point, India is growing. So the money flow into India as it is has increased multifold over the last 2-3 years. I think it'll become 10 times more in the next 7-10 years. Where will it go? It has to go into infrastructure. A country's infrastructure defines everything. The economy. I mean, whatever you do with the economy, you have to grow the infrastructure.
That's well said, actually. And my last question is about the two of you again. Where do you draw your inspirations from? I mean, do you have mentors? What do you guys do to keep yourself awake as entrepreneurs? Do you read? Do you do art? Do you go on drives, long drives? How do you manage that? Let's start with that. Inspirations, books, art, music, movies, what is it?
So, frankly, I mean, I have not read too many books. I listen to books, but I think this podcast business has become great, and podcast helps a lot because they're short, they're sweet, but they pass on the message. So I tend to listen to a lot of podcasts. Of course, we do. We take regular breaks. We go for a drive, or go for a vacation, etc. And when as a team we go out, as a family we go out, etc. But yeah, that's all.
That's it. And you, do you have any recommendation in terms of favorite books or movies? No. None. So you're that kind of person. That's very honest. Very well said. You.
So I think I also read quite a bit, but it's all about real estate, finance, banking. No other books reading, and it's just totally into it. And yeah, I mean, we love traveling. I think as a team, we go a lot.
You have an eye for
yeah,
design, don't you?
Yeah,
You like design.
yeah, totally. I mean, I love that real estate subject. As I said, architecture, construction, real estate. It's my favorite subject. So I sort of read quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, a couple of mentors in the industry. I mean, who sort of helped me in my shape up my banking career. My ex-bosses.
Do you want to name anybody in particular?
No, I won't.
Take
want
this
to.
opportunity.
No, I won't.
Okay, they're shy people. I
Yes,
understand.
yes.
Okay, that's good to know. But you have
had some
mentors.
great, yes.
Okay, and you people are
guiding
both
me.
family people. You have family, both of you.
Yeah.
Do they give you a good insight into
Yeah,
how to live
and
life?
amazing, especially my mother-in-law. I mean, she's a dynamic lady. She's been a working woman for all her life, and I think without her support, it would have been difficult for me because I'm 24/7 working. So she sort of supports me a lot.
So, in family, what inspires you, Shivam? Who inspires you, rather?
So I have a 12-and-a-half-year-old son, and he inspires me a lot. I think he's fantastic. He's taken to whatever whatever he loves doing. I mean, he loves traveling with me. We travel together. He loves sports, and I love sports. So so there are a whole bunch of things we do together. I think we are great together as a team.
Thank you, both of you, for being on the upstreamlife.com. We'll see you all soon then. And so you guys go check out the app, right? That's the first thing. Would you say, what's the app called again?
Indiassetz.
Say it, Shivam.
Indiassetz.
It's called Indiassetz. Go download it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.